Hello friends, welcome. Today we are going to take a look at how do we answer the sixth question. So what is the sixth question? Let P and Q be 2 points. They are the points of trisection of line segment joining points A and B such that P is nearer to A. Find the coordinates of P and Q. So we have a line segment joining point A and point B whose coordinates are given, and P and Q are points of trisection. So let's do one thing. First, let's draw a line, and let's say this is A and this is B. Now, what is the meaning of the word trisection? So assume that you have a line, and if this is A and this is B, if we were to find a midpoint, say this is the midpoint, and let's call this C. So the point that divides both sides equally, or the point that divides a straight line or line segment into two equal parts, we call that point midpoint. Now similarly, if we have a line such that the line is divided into three equal parts, so then that is called as trisection. Remember that the meaning of the word tri is equal to 3. So trisection means dividing into three equal sections, right? So what the question is saying is, we have a line segment AB such that it is divided into three equal parts by point P and Q. Now how do we know this is P, not this point? Because that is given by this last part of the question that says P is nearer to A. That means the point which is closer to A is P. So what this really means is that we know the coordinates of A and B, and three equal parts means each part, let's say if it is X, 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 that is what it means in three equal parts. So how are we going to solve this question? We are going to solve this question using sections formula. And what we are going to do is that, so first we are going to take the line segment AB, and first we are going to focus on the point P. So point P, so this is point P, so we have X on this side, X, and on this side we have 2X, right? So for point P, AP is X, and PB is 2X. This is 2X. That means point P is divided in the ratio of 1:2, right? Similarly, when we are going to consider point Q again, so let's imagine now this is A, this is B, and so P is somewhere here and Q is over here. So this is P and this is Q. So when we look at Q, AQ is actually 2X and QB is X. So the ratio here is 2:1. So we will keep this in mind as we solve the question. So let's take a look at how do we solve it. So trisection means dividing into three equal parts. Now, so the parts are P and Q. These are the 2 points, and the three equal parts are AP, PQ, and QB. Now, let's say each of the parts is equal to X, right? For the time being, we are going to actually fade out the Q, right? So we are going to focus on AP and PB. So what we are going to do is, now AP by PB, like we just talked about, is 1:2, which is that AP to PB. So this is 1 and this is 2. 1 equal part and this is 2 equal parts, correct? Now we are going to take a look at, so similarly when we bring Q in, then we will notice that AQ by QB, when it is Q, then AQ is 2 parts and QB is 1 part. So the ratio AQ to QB is 2:1. Now we talked about using the sections formula to solve this question, right? If we have 2 points given for the line segment, and we know the ratio in which any other point divides the line segment, we use sections formula to find out the coordinates of that point or those points, right? So what does the sections formula tell us? So for example, if we have a point A whose coordinates are x1, y1, and point B whose coordinates are x2, y2, and say P is any point that divides the line segment AB in the ratio m:n. If this is the case, then the x coordinate and the y coordinate of point P is given by this formula. So the x coordinate of point P, which is the x part, will be mx2 plus nx1 divided by m plus n. And similarly for the y coordinate of point P, it will be simply, instead of x coordinates, we are going to replace by y. So it will be my2 plus n y1 divided by m plus n. So it's important to note that so m x2 plus n x1 divided by m plus n for x. For the y coordinate, it will be m y2 plus n y1 divided by m plus n. So now that we understand this, let's take a look at what are the values. So we talked about, so the ratio in which AP is to PB, the way it is divided, it will be 1 part to 2 equal parts, right? So 1 is to 2. Now applying the sections formula, we are going to find out the x coordinate for the point P. So mx2 plus nx1 by m plus n will be simply m is 1 times minus 7, 1 times minus 7 plus 2 times 2 divided by 1 plus 2. We solve it, we get minus 1. So that means the x coordinate is minus 1. Now what about the y coordinate for point P? So similarly for y coordinate, it will be m y2 plus n y1 divided by m plus n. So 1 times 4 plus 2 times minus 2. So which will be 4 minus 4 by 3, which will be 0. So we have found out the coordinates for point P, and that will be minus 1, 0. So x coordinate is minus 1, like we have seen here, and y coordinate is 0. So the coordinates for the point P will be minus 1, 0. Right? Now similarly, we are going to find out the coordinates for point Q. When we talk about point Q, this is divided in the ratio 2 is to 1. So AQ is 2 parts and QB is 1 part. Right? So again, using the sections formula, we find out the x coordinate for Q will be mx2 plus nx1 by m plus n, which is 2 times minus 7 plus 1 times 2, which will be, so I divided by 2 plus 1. So this will be minus 14 plus 2 by 3, or minus 12 by 3, or minus 4. So the x coordinate is minus 4. Similarly, we find out the y coordinate, that will be 2. So the coordinates of the point Q will be minus 7, minus 4. Actually, no, this should be minus 4 and 2, because x coordinate is minus 4 and y coordinate is 2. So this is how, friends, we solve the 6th question.